Tonight, the terrifying near miss caught on camera in that deadly wrong-way police chase.
Oh my God! I almost got hit!
The new video obtained by CBC News of the massive police response during that high-speed pursuit.
We had not just this van that we had to dodge, but they're dodging police.
Plus, what we're learning about the family killed. Protesters face off at McGill as Quebec's premier weighs in.
We have to respect the law.
And ad issue.
When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko prime minister?
The leader opposite is showing us exactly what shameful, spineless leadership looks like.
Insults and chaos in the House of Commons. Parliament takes a turn.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. We begin with new video giving us new details about the police response during that deadly high-speed chase on Canada's busiest highway. In the end, 4 people died, including a 3-month-old boy. Again, we see how drivers had just a moment to respond to the sight of a van careening towards them at maximum speed. And we see the sheer scale of the pursuit. Cruiser after cruiser giving chase, going the wrong way down the highway. There are also new revelations tonight from investigators. But first, Thomas Degg takes us through the video and speaks to the driver who captured it.
Oh my God!
New dashcam video shared with CBC News is painting a clearer picture of a police chase that ended in tragedy. Watch as that U-Haul van pursued by officers speeds through traffic going the wrong way. Then come police. We counted 20 police vehicles with lights flashing on either side of the highway, including at least 7 giving chase in the opposite direction to traffic. That's more police cars than previously reported.
There's a psycho in a truck driving the wrong way.
Mila Burkett recorded that video and questions whether police made a chaotic scene any safer.
We had not just this van that we had to dodge, but they're dodging police. Talk about an overreaction. I am furious.
The scale of one family's loss in that fiery crash is now becoming clearer. Investigators say it was a 3-month-old boy who died, along with 2 grandparents visiting from India. Inside the same car were the infant's parents, both taken to hospital. The mayor of Ajax, Ontario, where the young family lived, said the loss of an infant and their grandparents is an unthinkable tragedy. It all started with a liquor store robbery, described that night in provincial police radio chatter.
Durham advising there was a male inside the LCBO. He tried to rob the store. He pulled a knife on an off-duty officer.
Police cars gave chase, but investigators wouldn't comment on media reports saying the pursuit had actually been called off before reaching the highway.
If that is accurate and there was accuracy to that account, there could be consequences there because you've disobeyed a lawful order.
The 21-year-old driver of that U-Haul van was also killed, and investigators now say another man they describe as a passenger was sent to hospital. Why that many police cars gave chase is not clear.
So, Thomas, we're learning, I gather, a little bit more about the investigation into the crash.
Yeah, the Special Investigations Unit has designated 2 subject officials. So that means at least 2 people are the subject of this investigation, meaning their conduct is suspected of being at fault here. Now, the SIU has not said who those subject officials are, whether they're Durham police officers who were at the wheel on the wrong side of the highway. I should say here, typically, people considered subject officials can't be compelled to sit for an interview with investigators or to submit their notes about what happened.
Okay, well, we'll see where this goes. All right, Thomas Degg, thank you for your reporting.
You're welcome.
Protests at some of Canada's largest universities are both growing and spreading. They are now situated in multiple provinces on multiple campuses, among them a new encampment at the University of Toronto, while at McGill in Montreal, after nearly a week, a heavy police presence today. Along with those officers, a large counter-protest took place, providing more proof of heightening tensions. Sarah Levitt now on that division, the role police are taking, and the Premier's push for a firmer response.
At McGill's front gates, police officers form a wall, others on horseback watch closely, here to prevent two groups from clashing on campus. Pro-Palestinian protesters on their 6th day camping out, calling on McGill to divest from all funds and organizations with ties to Israel, including Ari Naaman.
We are calling for the end of the genocide, and we're explicitly calling for divestment from McGill and Concordia, who are giving money to weapon manufacturers.
On the street in front of McGill, a crowd of hundreds made up of members of Jewish organizations and counter-protesters have gathered under a sea of Israeli flags. Scenes from the Hamas attack in Israel on October 7th play out on a big screen. Many here, like Josh Shizgal, say they're hurt by the slogans and chants used by those at the McGill encampment, ones they find anti-Semitic. Shizgal says he wasn't comfortable speaking out before, but now, with his community behind him,
we come here today, just to fight this hatred with our love and just seeing our community here and then, trying to put some balance.
Those on the other side deny any hatred, adamantly saying their demonstration is peaceful, their slogans meant to support Palestinians, not harm Israelis. After a tense day, the counter-protesters here went home. Those at the encampment remain, some empowered by the Quebec Superior Court rejection of an injunction to end the protest. While police are now present, there's been no intervention.
It's clear for me that it's illegal and we have to respect the law.
But in Quebec City, Premier François Legault has made his position clear.
What are you asking police to do?
To dismantle encampments.
Right now?
At the time that they will judge that will be the right one.
So a pretty firm statement by the Premier there, Sarah. I know it's hard to tell at this point, but is there any indication as to what could come next?
Well, Legault hasn't said if he's ordering any further action. He has just told police to do their job. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, Justice Minister Arif Virani saying that police operations should always remain independent no matter what politicians say. But he did say to protesters here, they have to remember to follow the rule of law.
All right, Sarah Lovett at McGill University tonight. Now back to that new encampment at Canada's largest university, where protesters say they won't leave until their demands are met. Just like at McGill, demonstrators at U of T are demanding it divest from all investments that fund Israel. The university, on the other hand, is warning of consequences, including suspension for those who break the law or school policies, one of which restricts the formation of encampments. And at the University of British Columbia, new tents went up throughout the day. It is one of at least 3 protests at schools in BC, one of which began yesterday at the University of Victoria. There is also a camp set up in front of a library at Vancouver Island University. And in the U.S., that major encampment at UCLA is now gone. The protesters arrested after a tense, hours-long standoff with police. Lindsay Duncombe is in Los Angeles for us tonight to show us how this is all sparking a conversation about the limits of peaceful protest.
With a crush of force in the wee hours of the morning, the encampment at UCLA came down. Police fired rubber bullets. Protesters threw projectiles, but it appears no one was seriously hurt.
We consider it a successful, incident. We didn't see no injuries on both ends.
More than 200 protesters were arrested, a violation, they say, of their right to protest the war in Gaza.
I think that police uphold the system of oppression, and obviously it's not right. They're just upholding the status quo. So we need to resist, and we need to keep protesting, and that's the only way change will be made, right? By resisting the status quo.
In 2 weeks, it's estimated more than 2,000 pro-Palestinian protesters on campuses have been arrested. This morning, Portland police cleared a campus library. And overnight, arrests in at least 3 other states. In the nation's capital, though, police have chosen not to move in. a contrasting approach as campuses across the country grapple with how and when to limit protest. Boundaries the president attempted to explain.
Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest.
Many see what's happening through their own experience of the complicated and brutal war in the Middle East.
I hate it. I hate it.
This retired judge is Jewish and glad to see the barricades in Los Angeles gone.
I love the fact that a generation that might be known for apathy is getting engaged. I don't understand the cause that they're getting engaged for.
Lindsay, you're at UCLA again tonight. Looks pretty different behind you.
Yeah, there are no tents, no protesters. Classes will remain virtual tomorrow, and there is still a pretty strong police presence. And that's because the law enforcement officials do not want to see protesters come back and build up another encampment. That's something that we have seen on other campuses. You know, one side effect of all of these arrests, Adrian, is that it has seemed to sharpen the resolve of some of these protesters to keep fighting.
All right. Thank you, Lindsay. Lindsay Duncombe at UCLA. As those campus protests call for an end to the war in Gaza, it is grinding on, obliterating homes and lives. But Cam McIntosh has the latest signs that Israel and Hamas are getting closer to a ceasefire deal.
In what might be considered a good faith gesture, Israel releasing 64 Palestinian prisoners. This man says he was held 60 days and beaten. Israel is promising the release of hundreds more prisoners in a proposal backed by Egypt, which reportedly would see a 40-day ceasefire in exchange for more than 30 Israeli hostages to start. Hamas is reported to be looking at parts of it favorably. But earlier this week, Israel's prime minister said no deal would prevent a ground invasion of Rafah, where Hamas forces and more than 1 million civilians are concentrated. Relatives of Israeli hostages, fearing that would kill a deal, blocked rush hour traffic in Tel Aviv and protested outside a meeting of Israel's war cabinet.
We want this to be over, and we'll keep fight and scream and shout everywhere we can.
The international community is advising Israel against an invasion of Rafah, including the U.S., which is imploring Hamas.
The deal is there. They should take it.
For weeks, Israel has been hitting Rafah with airstrikes, with civilians among the dead. The Hamas-run Gazan Health Ministry says nearly 35,000 people have been killed since fighting began, the majority women and children. In this Rafah camp for the displaced, tents painted with thank you messages to demonstrators on American campuses.
Israel destroyed the homes and the homes below us. I want to thank Columbia students for their support us.
Meanwhile, in already leveled parts of Gaza, efforts to bring in more aid. Israel opening a single crossing into Gaza's north for the first time since October 7th.
We won't stop.
With cautious hope for a ceasefire comes a stark assessment from the UN.
The overall reconstruction of Gaza today, according to our estimate, will be between $40 to $50 billion at least.
An already immense task that would take decades. That's if there's a deal. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
We're hearing from another key witness at Donald Trump's hush money trial. Stormy Daniels' former lawyer took the stand. Chris Glover takes us through the testimony.
Fresh off courting voters through 2 battleground states.
Mr. President, how is Michigan and Wisconsin?
Former President Donald Trump back in Manhattan facing jurors.
It was nice to be able to campaign one day without being in this ridiculous show trial.
Trump is accused of falsifying records to cover up hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels. The prosecution called Daniels' former lawyer, Keith Davidson. He testified Trump's one-time lawyer, Michael Cohen, struck a deal to keep an alleged affair between Trump and Daniels quiet ahead of the 2016 election. And after Trump's victory, Davidson texted a confidant, "What have we done?"
When they say, "What have we done?" they weren't necessarily speaking about the Stormy Daniels transaction. So there's ammunition on both sides to argue what those text messages mean.
The text not a slam dunk, says former prosecutor Michael Zeldin, but audio Cohen secretly recorded of Trump in 2016 also played in court.
What financing?
We'll have to pay you. So no. No.
They're talking about an alleged hush money deal with a former Playboy model, not Stormy Daniels, but it shows a pattern, Zeldin says.
That's a pretty telling piece of evidence.
The defense attempted to discredit Davidson by grilling him over other alleged hush money deals involving celebrities like Charlie Sheen and Hulk Hogan. This former judge says discrediting Davidson is also a way to undermine Michael Cohen's expected testimony.
Michael Cohen is a damaged witness. They need to make sure they get as many of his comments corroborated because the man has lied under oath.
Trump also faces a ruling on 4 more potential gag order violations. Trial Judge Juan Marchand has yet to make that decision.
I don't think there's ever been a more conflicted judge, crooked and conflicted.
The gag order doesn't cover the judge, though, and Trump is clearly determined to discredit him every chance he gets. Chris Glover, CBC News, Washington.
After significant backlash, the Alberta government now says it will amend its proposed legislation that aims to give the province more power over municipal governments. Bill 20 would let the provincial cabinet change or overturn municipal bylaws and remove councillors. That's something municipal leaders saw as an overreach. The province says it will clarify that those powers would only be used in limited circumstances. An investigation by U.S. lawmakers into private equity healthcare has some researchers here warning of the profit-focused system. As Christine Birak found, what's good for the bottom line may not be good for patients.
Hours after holding their newborn in a Boston hospital, Sangeeta Rashid was bleeding. Doctors wanted to use a potentially life-saving coil to stop the blood, but the hospital didn't have it due to its unpaid bills. Sangeeta was transferred to another hospital, but
she had another cardiac arrest and they couldn't revive her. It was shocking, I said, well, what exactly happened?
Hospital owners blamed financial woes on low U.S. Medicare payments while paying out millions in dividends. That U.S. hospital is one of hundreds bought with backing from private equity firms, companies that buy other companies and maximize profits for investors. U.S. lawmakers are now investigating whether they're harming patients.
They're cutting costs. We see quality go down. We see hospital-acquired infections go up. We see increasing in falls. We see prices go up. And they're trying to look profitable for resale in 3 to 5 years.
They see them as an opportunity to make money.
Private equity is not buying hospitals here, but as provinces rewrite laws to embrace more for-profit care, firms are investing in nursing homes, long-term care, and beyond.
There are people who are raising red flags, and for a good reason.
Studies show private equity-owned care homes had the highest death rates during the pandemic.
At the moment, one single private equity investment firm owns the company that owns 14 of our surgical centers across Canada.
Kensington Capital created ClearPoint Health Network to run 53 operating rooms in centers across Canada. ClearPoint says our mission is centered around patient safety and patient experience. It says it provides 55,000 surgeries per year for public patients to reduce the serious consequences of surgery wait lists. But CBC News found for cataract and knee surgeries, Ontario's paying one of those centers more than double what it pays hospitals.
I don't think that we have really truly explored better ways of doing that cost less and that don't line the pockets of investors.
Scrutiny on private equity in healthcare is increasing, with the U.S. Biden administration recently announcing plans for a public inquiry. Christine Birak, CBC News, Toronto.
A new Canadian rideshare company is hoping to disrupt the disruptors.
Helping the drivers earn more will completely shift the way that the rideshare industry is actually operating.
But can they compete against the giants? Fighting for no country.
Good job. Good job.
An Olympian shares his talent with up-and-comers. And the baby naming coincidence at an Alabama hospital.
This is Johnny Cash Davis. Her name is June Carter Clark.
We're back in 2.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
So Drake's music is coming back to TikTok after his label, Universal Music, reached a new licensing deal with the platform, ending a 3-month standoff. The Weeknd also among the big artists the label yanked from TikTok in a dispute over royalties and concerns over artificial intelligence. Both sides now say artists will be better compensated, better protected against AI-generated sound-alikes. And a new made-in-Canada ride-hailing service claims it will help fix a long-time demand from drivers, better wages. The payment model is different, but as Nisha Patel shows us, attracting customers might not be so easy.
Uber and Lyft cars are a common sight on city streets, but this driver is making it known right on his vehicle. He's barely making a living.
Now it's tough. You will get $100. You wait 7 hours, you pick up one customer. That's it.
Gig workers have long been pushing for higher pay from ride-hailing companies, which they say take a big slice of their earnings.
They haven't done a great job of taking care of their workforce.
Canadian Harrison Ammett wants to do things differently with his new app, Hover. Drivers pay $20 a month, and they'll get to keep 100% of their fare, similar to a traditional taxi payment model.
Helping the drivers to earn more and helping riders to save on each ride will completely shift the way that the rideshare industry is actually operating.
But Uber has been around for 15 years and boasts 150 million users worldwide. Lyft has 22 million.
The reality is when you're up against big multinational companies that are sitting on such a huge source of capital, it's hard to get your foot in the door.
Lyft is also trying to grow its footprint in Canada and says it will soon introduce minimum pay levels for drivers across the country.
That a driver will never, on a weekly basis, make less than 70% of what a rider pays after fees like insurance and tolls.
For Uber's part, it insists most of its drivers are satisfied, though advocates claim the company is not transparent enough about the cut it earns.
I knew something had to change.
At Hover's launch in Toronto, the company is trying to attract drivers who are willing to give it a try.
I feel it's a great idea because that makes me feel be part of the team, be part of the company.
So it may not be long before there's a third option for ride-hailing hitting the road. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
A karate champion fled from Iran and competed under no flag.
The whole of my life was with karate, as long as I remember.
Now he's passing on his talent to other young athletes. And Rosie's here with that issue. Hey there.
Hey, Adrian. Tonight we're going to talk about BC's drug policy and the Conservative leader's fiery comments.
When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister?
Chantal, Althea, and Andrew join me to talk about that and a whole lot more.
A karate champion who fled Iran and now calls Canada home is using his talents to teach the next generation. And as Jamie Strachan shows us, he is also pushing to ensure young refugees have a place to compete.
I'm gonna do.
I learned karate is hard, especially when you're on the mat with an Olympian.
The whole of my life was with karate, as long as I remember.
Hamoun Darafshapur was a world champion in Iran before fleeing to Canada in 2019. Not yet a Canadian citizen, he competed at the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, finishing 5th, fighting as a man without a country as part of the International Olympic Committee's refugee team.
You can represent your home country, Iran, and then you can represent Canada. And I didn't know about the refugee team.
Karate was dropped from the 2024 Paris Olympics, but he is still competing in international competitions. He also coaches, operating a vibrant dojo in Kitchener, Ontario that is a hive of activity nearly every night.
For 14, 15 years old, in my category, I am ranked #1 in the world.
That's Mariana Guerrero, who under his guidance has risen to the top of the sport.
I never would have thought that I could have met an Olympian, especially at such a young age. And because of that, I think that's like more of a motivation for me to just pursue my goals.
Then there's Armida Saif. The 17-year-old also came to Canada from Iran and is still waiting for her Canadian citizenship. that would allow her to compete in sanctioned national and international tournaments.
He wasn't allowed to fight for Canada. I wasn't allowed to fight for Canada. And I think that helped us a lot to understand each other.
Unlike the Olympics, there is no refugee team for those under the age of 18. She's been told to stay home from the upcoming Canadian Nationals in Montreal.
I cried for days. It's because it's pretty hard to fight and get to that level, and they just be like, oh, you can't fight because you don't have a Canadian passport.
It is a fight her sensei has taken beyond the mat, lobbying officials here in Canada and the IOC.
I believe the refugees, they're not guilty. You know, they should participate like the other people.
At the end of this hour-long class, sweat drips. There are smiles and high fives. Daraf Shapour is always fighting, pushing himself and his students to be the best they can be.
Great job, everyone.
No matter what stands in their way. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Kitchener, Ontario.
Now let's break down the week in politics. Rosie's here with that issue.
At issue, that chaotic question period and the debate over the decriminalization of some hard drugs.
Will the Prime Minister accept the BC NDP's demand to recriminalize those drugs?
Trudeau didn't answer directly. Instead, he accused Poilievre of courting extremists while visiting carbon tax protesters, which led to this.
When will we put an end to this wacko policy by this wacko Prime Minister?
Poilievre was tossed from the Commons, and his caucus followed. What's to be made over the battle over BC's drug policies? What are the politics at play? Hi there, I'm Rosemary Barton, here to break it down on At Issue Tonight. Chantal Hébert, Andrew Coyne, and Althea Raj. Good to see you all. Let's start with the antics, the chaos inside the House on that day. Chantal, what do you make of Mr. Poilievre and the dismissal and the subsequent sort of incredible moment where everyone walked out?
And also the Prime Minister's efforts to try to throw back every question at the Conservatives with questions about something else. I found the next day question period, where everyone seemed to have taken a Valium, much more productive in terms of information and debate. And I figured that if everyone came back in those calmer states, they probably realized that it didn't look as good on them as they would like, except for the partisans who give them money on both sides.
Yeah, and because both of them fundraised off that moment, we should point out. And Chantal, you're right as well, that the Prime Minister, instead of answering the questions substantively, which he did do the next day, went after Poilievre, as I said, on other issues. Andrew, what did you make of it?
I think the referee lost control of the game. There were certainly antics on all sides, not to say equal antics, but antics on all sides. Sure. If you recall, actually, there was something much worse that Poilievre said in my books than calling somebody a wacko, was he said the Prime Minister had been a practicing racist for half his life. He was properly called back on that by the Speaker and yielded. The Prime Minister then came in saying that he was, courting white nationalists and that he was spineless. He was called on that, and he stepped back. But by then, tempers had gotten up. There was one MP who was called out for calling the Speaker disgraceful, but she was in the process of withdrawing it when she was tossed out. Yep. And I think that inflamed things. And then, if you watch the tape, you can see Poilievre is basically in adolescent mode. He's testing to see how far he can get away with. And for a person in a position of authority should know, you pick your spots. You don't have to insist on every point. Yep. When he was called out for the wacko thing, he made a show of saying, well, I replace it. Effectively, in my books, that's a withdrawal. I think it was within the Speaker's discretion to say, okay, let's cool down here, don't do it again, kind of thing. Instead, you could see the Speaker feeling like he had to assert his authority at that moment, and I think he basically played into Poilievre's hands. He gave him the clip he needed, he gave him the fundraising opportunity, although the Liberals were also fundraising. I don't think it was a great moment for anybody, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had the clip regardless of whether he withdrew it or not. That's the point, I think, too, there, Althea. The fact that the Speaker, who has had many confrontations since he got that job, chose that moment to move and discipline Mr. Poilievre was interesting.
I don't think the Speaker had any choice, frankly. Both Speaker Fergus and before him, Anthony Rota, who was the Speaker, have faced this difficult position where they actually feel like the Conservative caucus are baiting them to throw them out. Raquel Dancho, who's a Manitoba MP, I believe she called the Prime Minister a liar about 2 years ago. and she did not withdraw. And so she was named and she was kicked out. And she had a press conference outside the doors of the House. And she said that she had been kicked out for telling the truth. And what I'm told is the Conservatives made $1 million off of that fundraising initiative. So Andrew is right about the racist and the spineless, but the Speaker has let the word racist slide many, many, many times. When you have the leader of the official opposition name calling the Prime Minister a wacko, and this is the first time. I know there are many Conservatives on social media saying the term has been used before. It has been used. It has been used as an adjective. We did some research. It has been used. One member said, well, referring to themselves as a wacko, but no one has ever called another person a wacko. This is not appropriate. So the Speaker had no choice but to lay down the law. And yes, he was trying, Prime Minister Pierre Poilievre tried to be cute, saying, I withdraw, and I replaced with the word extremist. That is not a proper withdrawal. So they didn't want to give them this chance to make, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But really, he had no choice. He has to maintain decorum. And the first person to thank him was the leader of the Bloc Québécois for maintaining order in the chamber. Otherwise, it goes down.
Let me move it back to the issue, because the issue itself, unfortunately, I think that's the other thing that happened that wasn't great for the Conservatives. It got lost that day. They went back to it the next day, and there was a conversation around it. But it is an issue that is important, where people's lives are at risk, and where there is a real difference of opinion about whether decriminalization should be happening in BC, and now a request from the City of Toronto. What did you make of the politics around that issue, Chantal, itself?
Well, for one, BC did not request that, contrary to what the Conservatives are saying, did not request that hard drugs, small quantities of hard drugs, be recriminalized. The request from BC is for the federal government to amend the exemption. It's a pilot project. It's supposed to run for 3 years. It's not the law of the land, and what BC wants is to modify it to make it clear that you cannot be having these drugs in public places, children's playground, go down the list. It has become a huge issue in BC, and there is an election coming. And I have seen no evidence from the answers from the government that they will not amend it. The fact is, if you're looking at the real issue, it is probable that the housing crisis has met the opioid crisis. And so, yes, you are not criminalizing people who are using small quantities, but many of them are homeless. And so they are doing so in public places. What I found interesting on the second day is the Prime Minister did not say he would say no to Toronto and eventually Montreal for the same exemption, but he did say that the government had turned down an early request from the City of Vancouver and only agreed when the provincial government of BC asked for that 3-year pilot project, i.e. if Premier Ford in Ontario, Premier Legault do not want to go there, then Montreal and Toronto won't be allowed to go there.
And Premier Ford doesn't want to go there. He's already made that clear. Andrew?
There's a tendency to retreat into absolutes on this, either decriminalization or not decriminalization, or either you choose the Alberta harm reduction model or you choose the BC, safe alternatives, safe supply. I don't see why it has to be one or the other. On the decriminalization, it seems clear that, if we thought we could just decriminalize and let her rip, that was too simple. And we have not paid perhaps due regard to the surrounding communities and to the interests of the public about how and where that is exercised. So the rollback by the BC government, partial rollback, I think was in order. I would prefer it if the opposition were simply looking at it in those terms rather than, as we've seen from the Conservatives, simply saying, well, we can't have any decriminalization at all. Anything like that is leading us on the road to perdition. So I think there's lessons to be drawn from that. But, should we take the Alberta model or the BC model? I'm not sure why we can't do a little bit of both. What's clear is decriminalization has to be accompanied by continuing concern both for the broader community and for the addicts themselves, who are not in a position to simply, fend for themselves entirely without some help and guidance.
Sure. Quick 30 seconds to you, Althea.
I think there's two issues at play. One is like, is it the right conservative strategy? Like it is, we may not like it, but it's an effective communication strategy in that they are trying to tie the BC experience and put that at the feet of the Prime Minister, as in it was Justin Trudeau's fault and it's Justin Trudeau's agenda to do this, and you should all be scared because people are going to be smoking crack in the hospital near you. And then there is the issue, the public health issue, which is what is the right response? And I think what we're seeing, and to everybody's point, is everybody's kind of struggling with what is the right response and how to accompany it. And frankly, pilot programs and public policy should be continuously looked at.
Yeah. Okay, got to leave it there. Thank you. But when we come back, we'll take a look at Poilievre's comments about bail reform this time.
Multiple murderers will stay in maximum security.
Poilievre hints at using the notwithstanding clause if he forms government. What could that mean? That's next. Pierre Poilievre strongly hinted this week a future Conservative government would be willing to use the notwithstanding clause on issues like bail reform and prison transfers for convicted murderers.
We will make them constitutional using whatever tools the Constitution allows me to use.
A federal government has never used the notwithstanding clause before. Poilievre says his decision will be guided by the people.
Democratically accountable to the people, and they can then make the judgments themselves on whether they think my laws are constitutional.
So are there any risks in this, and how to explain why Poilievre is considering it? Let's bring everybody back. Chantal, Andrew, and Althea. Andrew, why don't you start us off on this? What did you make of Mr. Poilievre's comments around this?
Well, with each passing week, Pierre Poilievre puts another red flag, or at least yellow flag of caution in the window for people who are considering getting rid of this current government. If you think this government has passed its sell-by date, it's incompetent, it's corrupt, not particularly strong in its defense of the Charter. I note that the government has yet to bring in a charter statement on its online harms bill, which it's required to do, so it's not a particularly sterling record itself on that. But if you're tired and want to get rid of this government, you should know that one of the consequences, one of the costs of that, if you bring in the Conservatives, is they're going to bring in the notwithstanding clause. I think it's very clear. I think it's not the first time he said it, in fact. So you're going to see for the first time a federal government invoking it. You're essentially accelerating the decline of the Charter into effectively a dead letter. If it becomes routine to invoke the notwithstanding clause, as we are rapidly on the way to doing it, then it's basically, obey the Charter unless you don't feel like it. So people just need to be able to bear that in mind.
Sure, but it's there, and it is a tool that he can use democratically, to his point.
I'm not saying it's illegal. I'm just saying it's unwise.
Okay, Chantal, your thoughts.
So clearly what Mr. Poilievre has in mind is to resurrect a number of pieces of legislation on the law and order front that were found unconstitutional by the courts. There are a few consequences to that, including the fact that if the federal government starts normalizing, suspending rights that are in the Charter at some point becomes a piece of paper full of good intentions. But one of those consequences for Mr. Poilievre is that he will be, as of that moment, under intense pressure from the large section of his caucus that is pro-life to do something about abortion and to use it to get around where we are at this point on abortion rights. The other issue that I don't think he's considered is he will be walking himself in possibly a constitutional crisis. Why? Because I'm not convinced that anytime soon he's going to have enough members in the Senate to endorse his use of the notwithstanding clause, and the Senate needs to endorse it for him to use it.
We did ask him the day after he had given this speech to, I should say, a group of police officers who were happy to hear it. We did ask him what are the limits? When would you use it? How often would you use it? He didn't answer any of those questions. So we don't know. Would it apply to the things Chantal is talking about or not, Althea?
Well, the example he gave was if you have multiple murders, that the only way you would get out of prison is in a box. And he talked about his laws. And I think that there's, and maybe this is where Andrew is going, there's kind of this authoritarian streak that is emerging out of Mr. Poilievre that I think is part of the Conservatives feeling very confident that they're going to have a crushing majority and do not need to court kind of the soft centrist votes that in the past kind of kept that same team around Mr. Harper, if you want, in check. So they're looking at this opportunity, and they're not going to have a secret agenda. Their agenda is out there for everyone to see it. But this is what they want to do. And finally, they can talk about it openly and they can do it. Now, I don't think that they're going to touch anything to do with abortion. Frankly, they don't need to touch the charter to talk about abortion and to allow private members' bills to talk about abortion. But I do think that it has significant impacts for the rest of the Federation. One, and everybody else has made that point, as soon as the federal government uses the notwithstanding clause, free reign. All the provincial premiers, go ahead. What that means for Bill 21, the bill in Quebec that is going to possibly, we don't know because the Supreme Court hasn't said whether or not they're going to hear the case, but this is a bill that prevents people that wear religious symbols from holding certain public-facing public employment in Quebec. So teachers, lawyers, public police officers, judges, that they can't work for the province because they wear a kippah or a headscarf. There's the bill in Quebec on language, Bill 96. You think back about the 3 times Premier Ford has tried to use it in Ontario. So yes, it does beg the question, then what use is the charter? The only thing that holds the check of the notwithstanding clause is the assumption that there will be a public outcry. And Mr. Poilievre is saying, if there is a public outcry, it doesn't matter because I will have the democratic legitimacy to use this tool.
But he has the democratic legitimacy of the majority that elect him, and the charter is supposed to protect the minority as well, is my understanding, Andrew.
Well, also, the charter was passed by a democratically elected parliament with the support of 9 of the 10 legislatures. So, look, it is a remarkable ill timing to this because one of the more heartening things of late has been Conservatives rediscovering the value of the charter on things that they care about. So, for example, on the Emergencies Act, or on some of these online regulatory bills that are clearly, in my view, offside of the charter. Well, okay, if you want to be able to invoke the charter then for things that you care about, you're not going to be able to if you've been craftily undermining it and negating support for it and making it into a dead letter in the meantime. So Conservatives who are libertarian-minded Conservatives need to think long and hard about this, whether they go down this road, and particularly to be invoking, well, the public's behind me on this. I don't know whether it's authoritarian, but it's certainly the populist idea that whatever the public wants at any given moment, it should get, regardless of the Constitution or the laws or rules or any of these sort of larger contexts in which democracy is embedded, and it's very dangerous.
Chantal?
And I guess those who are worried should be thankful that at some point, and I do believe the Supreme Court will hear the appeal on Quebec's Bill 21, the Supreme Court is going to be asked whether it wants to rethink its stance on the notwithstanding clause and its preventive use or its blanket use. That should be interesting. And for those who think it's a foregone conclusion, this is the same court that rewrote its stance on medically assisted death. So rewrites are possible. It should be an interesting conversation.
10 seconds, Althea, if you can do it.
I agree. It will be interesting, and I don't know. I really wish we weren't having this conversation. I think that there are certain norms that need to be kept, and I feel that we're being challenged all the time. But we will see. We'll see what the public mood is like, because Ontario surprised us.
The only thing worse than invoking the notwithstanding clause, in my opinion, would be the Senate overturning that.
Okay.
At least Poilievre had to get himself elected.
Okay.
I don't think the Senate is going to be as big a mess as you guys think it is, but that's for another discussion.
Yes, that's it. Yes, we will come back to it. Thank you all very much for that conversation. Appreciate it. And now I'll throw things back to Adrienne, if she, of course, is in Toronto.
You bet. Thanks, Rosie. Next, 2 babies named after country music legends are born on the same day in the same hospital.
This is Johnny Cash Davis. Her name is June Carter Clark.
Amazing. We get their moms' reactions in our moment. Well, those little cuties are 2 newborns bound to be friends for life. On the right, you have Johnny Cash. On the left, June Carter. So they aren't related. They just coincidentally happened to be born on the same day at the same hospital in Alabama. Tonight, the iconic country musician namesakes make our moment.
What a coincidence. This is Johnny Cash Davis. Her name is June Carter Clark. She was 3 weeks old yesterday.
We just couldn't agree on what we would call him. I grew up listening to Johnny Cash, and then we thought, oh, Johnny Cash, that's a great name. The next day, I hear a knock at my door. A nurse came in, and she says, do you know who the wife of Johnny Cash is? And I said, yes, June Carter. And she said, okay, good. Because there's a couple at the end of the hall. They've had a baby. They named their baby June Carter, and they want to meet you.
I was like, we have to go find this baby. To have two babies named that, like, okay, but that they were born on the same day and in the same hospital, I was just like, wow, this is really crazy.
I can't stop smiling that they were both doing those interviews in rocking chairs. So another treat coming up for the mums. Johnny Cash died in 2003, but in 1993, he recorded some unreleased demos. They're now being released at the end of June. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.